Alrighty, guys, this is Snugsonblitz, and today we're gonna be looking at premium tanks. The other day, I shared my thoughts on which tech trees I think you should consider grinding if you're a new player, and my reasons why. Today, we're gonna be looking at what premium tanks I think you should pick up. We're gonna start in Tier 5 and move on up. This is the 2025 edition of this. Do I have every premium tank? No, because I'm cheap, like many players out there. I'm not a super wallet warrior who just buys every tank when it comes out. There are a lot of tanks I still don't have because either they didn't interest me or they were just too expensive. Usually it's the latter. So we're going to start off with Tier 5 and move on up, shall we? Well, Tier 5, as you can see, I've got quite a few actually, considering I don't play Tier 5 very often these days. Is there any tank here that I would recommend? Nightmare, Titan, Junukai, 825, and I've got to say there's only one tank that I think is actually worth considering picking up this tier, and that is the Gargoyle. Why? Because of its derp gun. Yeah, the gun does hit pretty hard. Let's take a quick, oops, I hit the wrong button there. There we go. Yeah, 250, armor piercing 280. That's pretty solid in Tier 5. You can ruin a lot of players' games, especially Tier 4 tanks with this tank. So it is quite fun. The rest of them, I don't think anything really stands out. I must admit the Medjay, when it first came out, was rather interesting with its 4 shells for the tier. That was unique, but yeah, I wouldn't care about any others if I were you. What about Tier 6? Well, we've got even more tanks to choose from here. There's one tank I don't have, and it's basically a copy of this. It's called the Spark, which is the Skoda T25. It's been a while since I played it, so yeah, I would, if you could pick up the Spark somehow, some way, I would say that's the one tank you really want to have in Tier 6 when it comes to autoloader. Yeah, it's pretty dang solid. I suppose I should change it over. Here we go. Make sure you got calibrated autoloader just to guarantee you best chance of penning a tank. Any other tanks I recommend? I like the AMX Xmas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you call it. AMX Xmas. But the tech tree tank is just as good, so I wouldn't really bother with that one. But this tank is unique. I know the Churchill gun carrier is the Tier 6 version of this, but this is, well, meaner, rougher, tougher. It can do quite a lot on the battlefield. Most people use it as a sniper, but it's got enough armor, enough hit points to really cause a lot of trouble for many tanks. If you're against Tier 5s, yeah, you can roll on up and absolutely pretty much shred them. So yeah, I would recommend this if you could pick it up. What else? Well, the Cromwell B is a classic. Why? Well, how many degrees of gun depression does it have? Let's see. Where is it? That's power, turret rate. 13 degrees. That's probably the best you're going to get. And if you want to learn how to use gun depression, this is one tank you want to pick up. Yes, I know there are 2 tanks that have got higher gun depression. We'll talk about those in a second, but in a medium, I don't think this can be beat. So absolutely a must-have, in my opinion. The SU-100Y, I think this is a rather fun tank because the gun just hits hard and you can ram some tanks. Ramming is underrated. A lot of new players don't understand ramming. Ramming in a tank like this can really pack a punch. One time on an old map on Middleburg before they updated it, I remember I rammed a T20 for his entire hit point pool. It was crazy. 800 points from a ram. I was down to my last hit points, and I managed to do 800 damage from a ram in a Tier 6 tank. That is crazy against a Tier 7 tank, full health. Now that is worth considering. The Cryos, man, this is a DPM beast. Yeah, you want this tank in your garage. It's just going to shred any tank in Tier 6. Absolutely a must-have, and I would recommend using calibrated just to guarantee the pen. The Dicker Max If you want a challenge tank, I would say this is the one to pick up because it's got 15 degrees gun depression. That is unique in the game. There's only one other tank that has this, I believe, and that's the Stura Mill in Tier 7. That's a tech tree tank, so you can pick it up for free. This one you'd actually have to buy, but it is worth picking up because you'll earn credits for this tank. Any other tanks I recommend? The Star Wars tank is underrated. I really think it is. The gun shreds from distance. It's like a laser. You might want to use, I use supercharged to guarantee it hits exactly where I want to hit. You might want to use calibrated, but I just stick it with gun rammer and I'm just fine. But yes, the Agent. This tank is a lovely, lovely tank. Definitely one I think you want to crush because it's an improvement over the VK2801. Now, the VK2801 used to be the best tank, tier 4 tier in the game. It could go against tier 8 tanks and absolutely shred them. I'm not kidding because of its mobility and its primal. Absolutely an amazing tank at the time. But those times have come and gone, unfortunately. What about the Pollock tank? Actually, I think this is an underrated tank. This is quite strong for tier 6. It's got armor. It's got a good gun. Yeah, I would definitely say this is worth consideration. Some people like the Cyborg. I mean, it's okay. So you be the judge of that. What about tier 7 tanks? Now we're getting to the fun tier. This tank I actually recommend, the T28 HTC. It's got armor galore, and you're going to get bounces that you wouldn't believe, especially against tier 6 and 7 tanks. You don't go up in front of an Annihilator or a Spasher because they will be able to pen you. But other than that, yeah, you're going to have pretty much smooth sailing against a lot of tanks. So this is an underrated tank. This tank you can get for free. I think it's 20,000 battles. You get it for free. Lovely gift from More Gaming. I would say this is definitely a must-have in your garage. A46, I think this is a fun tank. I think it's hard, but if you want to challenge yourself and you want to learn how to play light tanks, this is definitely worth it. I mean, in tier 7, you've got Annihilators and Smashers to worry about. Not only that, but you have SU-152s, ISU-152s, Borsigs, and the like. These guns will absolutely shred you. So it will teach you to be a little bit more cautious and use your speed. The Type 62, absolutely a fantastic tank, extremely underrated. The pen is fantastic, especially for Premo. Now, if you're hearing that sound, that boingy boing or whatever, that's my mic because I'm using a headset today, so I do apologize, but just bear with it. I apologize. Dracula, what can I say? You got to get this tank. This is a must-have in your garage because it is just so much crazy fun. The tracks are the amazing thing because if you get hit, just wait 2 seconds and they automatically repair. Ooh, a lot of people don't know that. I mean, pros do, but other people don't. The Force Witch, I think this is a must-have in your garage. This is a fantastic tank. 4 shells, it's kind of wonky in the sense you got to figure out how that works because it's not a typical auto-loading system. Auto-reloader, right? If I'm not mistaken. But this tank can really do the business on the battlefield and put them in a platoon together with a buddy of yours and you can have some crazy fun. The Silencer is also a fantastic tank with 2 shells. I would highly recommend you pick that up. It's like a Charioteer, but in tier 7 with a better gun, in my opinion, because of those 2 shells. I could skip all the others. I do think the Kunze-Panzer is underrated. I rather like this tank. It's better than an RU-251 tier for tier, and it's easier to control, so I would definitely recommend picking that up. Any other tanks? I actually like the AT-15. Again, it's very much like the T-28 HTC. Armored Beast, a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. You can absolutely go to town on them. Just push on in and really rip them apart. The CS-52 is an underrated tank. It's got armor. To a certain extent, it's got decent speed, it's got decent gun, it's got pretty much everything. It's a little bit of everything, and that's why I like it, and I would say it's a must-have in your garage. Likewise with the Magnet, similar to the CS-52, I would say these are the 2 best medium tanks that are not like crazy tanks, such as the Drac. So I'd definitely say get that one as well. In the Smasher, everybody knows about this. Just get it if you can. Because you will just have some crazy funny games. You'll just be giggling to high heaven like, It can hold its own against tier 8, just load Premo, so make sure you load a few of those shells, are they? Heat, and you'll just go straight through them like butter. Any other tanks? Well, of course, we have the Annihilator. I mean, this tank needs no explanation. 3 shells. Boom, boom, boom. Up close and personal. Whew. My goodness me. And if he face hugs you, if you're in a tier 6 tank, and many tier 7 tanks, good luck with that. So, yeah, very, very tough ombre to deal with. Helsing, I'm going to give it a little bit of love. It's rather fun. It's fast. It's the original shotgun tank with those 2 shells. But I don't think it's like anything wow these days. It's not like any of the other super amazing tanks like the Annihilator, the Smasher, or the Dracula. What about tier 8? Again, we've got a bunch to go through, so I'm going to try and keep this as short and sweet to the point. Yes, this one, the T54E2, needs no explanation. It's got a bit of everything. It's an E5 in tier 8. It can hold its own against tier 9 tanks. The armor works, the gun works. Fabulous tank. T77, which Droodles considers the second most powerful premium tank, or I think tank in tier 8. I can't remember which one. Yeah, I think you'll need to use more Pramo than you think, and you're definitely going to need to use calibrated shells, because if you don't, you're going to get too many bounces, I think. But it is a very deadly tank indeed. Hawk, I don't want to pass. Keeler, though. This is a standout for me. It's an underrated tank. A lot of people don't think it's that strong. It seems just like it's a Luva, but it's a little bit more agile. Armor just seems to work that much better, and it can absolutely ruin people's days. The Elephant. I don't know why. This is an improvement over the Ferdinand. I don't think it's a must-have, but I definitely think it's close to. It's a challenging tank, but I think you have a lot of fun in it, so you might want to consider it. The Object 590, absolutely a must-have in a tank. One of the best medium tanks in tier 8. It's like a CS52 upgrade into tier 8, and this tank can do a little bit of everything on the battlefield. Versatility means a lot to me. So yes, this tank has got it in spades. Get this tank if you can. Oops, I skipped one. The K2. Yes, get this tank if you can. I mean, it was given away for free. Thank you, Wargaming. Such an awesome tank for free. Goodness me. Wow. Yeah, you got to get that tank. Defender Mark 1. Absolutely get this tank. The turret is godly. Oh my goodness me. You can just go to town on tanks. Just sit there and just beacon over. Boom, 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 boom. Your 4 shells. Goodness me. So dang deadly. Moving on to the Centurion 5-1. This tank is a very lovely tank as well, just like the Defender Mark 1. The Cent 5-1 has a slight advantage in the sense that the gun is a tier 9, which is something a lot of people don't know. The Defender Mark 1 is actually a tier 8 gun, but both tanks are fantastic. Charlemagne, it's a little bit of a tough tank for newer players because of the Hesh concept, but I still think this is a great tank to have in your garage. Burrasque. I mean, what can I say about this that people don't already know? I think it's a must-have in your garage. Can do a lot on the battlefield, really inflict a lot of pain and punishment on your enemies. So definitely pick this one up as well. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back again after my cat decided to annoy the frick out of me. What else we got? Lances C, no. I think it looks great, but it's just not really that competitive, I don't think. I'm only thinking 51. I think this is an underrated tank. I think a lot of people don't understand how good this is. It's not got the armor that one has, but it's got a lot more speed. So I would definitely think this is more enjoyable because of the versatility on the battlefield. Tornwagen, hold down God. Yes, get this tank. You want this tank in your garage. Ground tank. I don't know if you'll ever be able to get it, but yeah, that gun. I mean, just look at that freaking thing. You want this in your garage. Hit points. Put 2 of them in a platoon, or put this with another heavy tank, and oof, they can really go to work on your opponents. Soul Leader, the 20,000 gold tier 8 tank. First time Wargamers decided to sell a tier 8 for 20,000 gold. Is it worth it? Kinda. I think this is a must-have tank. Not at 20,000 gold, but yes, definitely a tank you want to get out in your garage. Now, moving on to other tanks. And I'm just going to skip over these. Christ, okay, if you want the side-scraping concept, if you like that, if you want to challenge yourself or to learn it, this is one of those tanks to do it in. It's quite fast. and rather enjoyable. This tank is rather interesting in that it's got an interesting armor profile, and you can get a lot of crazy bounces. I would recommend playing this in a platoon. Is it a must-have? No, I don't think so. The E75TS, it's not as good as the Keeler, in my opinion, but it's not bad at all. And if it's for the right price, I would say it's worth picking up. Now, this tank, you're probably going to be surprised, but I'll say you have to pick this up simply for gravity mode. It's crazy fun. The Luva, if you want to earn credits, definitely worth picking up. Scorpion, it's good. You can have a lot of fun. If you like that playstyle, great. You might want to consider it, but I don't think it's a must-have. There's a better tank out there. Speaking of which, this is one of them, the Jag Tiger 8.8. Fabulous gun. This gun is just divine, and the armor, it can absolutely shred a lot of tanks. K5, surprisingly, gets my nod because of its ability to go quite fast for a super heavy, and the gun is quite fast as well, so you can track a lot of heavy tanks in place and cause them all sorts of distress. Object 252, basically K2, troll armor. If you want to understand troll armor, get this tank. You're going to get some crazy bounce. Wiggle, 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 ping, 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 ping. It's going to be like RoboCop, I swear to God. The ISU is upgraded. It's got those tungsten shells now. You can really ruin people's days in this tank. I think it's more enjoyable than it has been, but is it a must-have? No, I don't think so. But the SU-130 is. Goodness me, get this tank. Fabulous. You want to be a sniper? This is one of the best in the entire game. Chimera. Again, one of those must-have tanks in your garage. Peek on over, boom, back on up, reload. Pretty easy tank to play. And strong. Action X as well. A very strong tier 8 tank. Pew pew gun, but that turret maneuverability, pretty dang good. Going against tier 8 heavies, you can really ruin their days by tracking them to high heaven and back. G-Sor 1008. Well, I don't know how it's called, whatever it is. It's a good tank. I think this is an underrated tank in the sense of fun. You can have a lot of fun in this tank. I don't think it's OP at all, but you might want to consider it if you like that kind of play style. The 2 shells, sneaky style. Type 57, along the same track of the K2 and Object 252. This was another one you've got to have in your garage. And this camel looks fantastic. It really looks evil, mean. So yeah, just for that, I want to get it. This tank surprised me. The Kyrie, surprisingly good. I think it's better than the Tech Tree version. Is it one you must have? No, but underrated, I think. WZ-122 DM. I think it's a Chimera-ish tank. Sometimes it can be a little bit better, but is it one you want to have in your garage? I don't know. It's solid. Let's put it that way. I really enjoy it, but don't think it's a medium. Play it almost like a heavy. Of course, this tank, needs no introduction as well. Gorgeous tank. Armor can work. Gun works. You'll get some crazy bounce in this tank in the right positions. The problem with this is its lack of hit points. That's a real killer. I recommend this tank, but not for newer players. Only when you're experienced and you understand under pressure. This tank hits pretty dang hard, and it's the best of all the Sherman tanks. Did I say Sheridan? Sherman tanks out there. Rather fun. This is the tank that made me a better player. Do I recommend it? No. But it looks cool. MX M449, if you want a jack of all trades sort of tanks, this is the one for you. Is it OP? No. But be a heavy, can be a medium, can do a lot of things. So I think it's worth considering. This tank we got for free. I think this is pretty good. And the camo's great. I just think the Centurion 5.1 or the Defender Mark 1 are better. But not a bad tank at all. Progetto 46, definitely pick this up. Absolutely lovely tank. Look at that camo. Looks gorgeous. You want this in your garage. Absolutely. If you like speed, this is one of the tanks for you. Glides around the map. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the Skoda T56 is very much like a K2, Object 252, and a Type 57. This is a beastly tank. You'll get a lot of bounces. The gun hits hard. Just make sure you aim in, just like Type 57. These two guns are very, 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 very troll. And last one is probably the Death Star in Tier 8. It's not fully loaded for me, unfortunately. I have still got a while to go. Yeah, those two left, which is unfortunate. But even then, I really enjoy the tank. Just wish I could get it fully loaded one day. Moving on to Tier 9. And just a quick reminder, remember, I don't have every tank in the game. I have a lot of premiums, not all of them. You might say, well, what about this Snugs and what about that Snugs? Okay, let me know in the comments below. If there's a tank you highly recommend, sure, let me know. Tier 9 is going to maybe surprise you, but I actually recommend this tank. I did not think it was good. I could absolutely shred it. Nobody could play it well. Didn't really see it ever perform well, but I rather enjoy it, the TL7120, but I don't recommend it for new players. But if you know what you're doing, this tank is surprisingly fun. The Eric concept, I have no clue how to pronounce it. This is a fun tank. This is a tank that I went, 9 out of 10 the first time in. So this is definitely a good tank. The WT Ritter, absolutely a great tank. I mean, if you like WT in the Waffle in Tier 9, you'll like this. It just only has one gun to choose from. It's okay. It's a great tank. Object 452, I think you can give this a pass. Just get the IS-8. It's about the same. Object 752, one of the most OP tanks in the game. One you definitely want to have in your garage, in my opinion. Likewise with the K91, beastly tank. The camo absolutely is horrific, in my opinion. The Hot Rods camo, where is it? I mean, I want something that looks like it's on the battlefield, not in a kid's garage. Yeah, that just looks wacky to me. So give us something better, we'll give you. But this tank can absolutely do the business. It was the easiest tank I think I've ever played. 71%. Yeah, it was easy. No problem. Mouse tank. Those shells, absolutely devastating. Fun tank, especially in a platoon. Love those lights. And yeah, a little bit wacky, but goodness me, it's great. Another underrated tank, this one, the KPZ-70. I absolutely love it. Again, this one was one of the easy rides. 68%, 150 battles. Yeah, no problem. 68%. Easy. Cobra. Tough tank to play because of its lack of pen, especially against Tier 9 tanks, which you'll awfully... against Tier 10 tanks, which you'll often be pitted against, but I still think it's a must-have in your garage. Not so much these two tanks. Char 4 is interesting. I think you will be challenged, but it's underrated. Must-have? I don't know. I can't say so. This is the tank that I really enjoyed. I was thinking of this when I first started. I went 1 for 10. But as you can see, I ended up with 60%. Yeah, not that hard. The thing that lets it down is its pen, but its maneuverability is up there with the Progetto and the Drac. Lovely tanks to move around the battlefield. So if you can stay alive later on in the game, this tank can be very, very deadly. 50 TP. Yes, get it. Great tank. Probably get it in clan events, so don't have to buy it or anything like that, but yeah. T55, nope, I don't think there's anything special there. Just get the T54, it's good enough. And Destiny looks kind of funky, and thank you for that, Wargaming. As you can see, I've not got upgraded, so I'm not playing it because I don't want to get my ass kicked left, right, and center. A lot of my friends say this is the worst tank in the game because a lot of players just playing it stock, and they don't know what they're doing. They've only played 1,000 games. They got a Tier 9 tank, absolutely getting wrecked, shredded. So far, I can't say it's a good tank, but who knows when it's fully loaded, if it is. Moving on to Tier 10, and again, we have a lot of tanks to go through. This is a great tank. It's the medium killer. That's what I call it. Always liked it. A lot of people hate it. I picked it up for a steal, I think 10K or 11K or something like that a long time ago. Nowadays, people know it's good. It got buffed, so yeah, definitely a strong tank. And when you want to have a garage, Concept 1B, very strong. I don't like this camo, but because of the rareness of it, I just like to put it on there. And like, what the hell is that? People haven't seen it before, be like, whoa, that's funky. So that's the only reason. The XM66F, goodness me, this tank can do the business. I really like this tank. VK91 as well. I think this is a great tank. I really like it because of its speed. It's surprisingly fast, and I think it will surprise a lot of players. Gun, quite a fast reload as well. 907, well, it's got those tracer shells. Without the tracer shells, I'd say no. With the tracer shells, absolutely. Tracer shells are super helpful in keeping tanks lit up for 20 seconds. T22, one of the best medium tanks ever since it got the buff again, which is nice. It was knocked down a few pegs a while back, but it's come back to not its super glory, but it's still definitely a tank I think you want to have in your garage. The Chieftain Mark 6. I think this is a fantastic tank. It's always been a fantastic tank. It seems the wargame never really nerfs it. It just stays solid. The other day, some guy did 7K in it against me. I mean, my team was just, I knew we'd die because they were a platoon of 70%ers. And yeah, this tank just dominated. So the Cairo 45 ton. Yeah, I really like this tank. This is a really nice tank. I was surprised how much I liked it. I only played 1 or 2 games on my friend's account before I got it. When I actually got it on my account, I guess I'd gotten to be a better player. And this is an absolutely lovely tank. Strats I think this is an underrated tank. I wish it had that speed boost. With the speed boost, it's definitely a must-have. Without the speed boost, it's good. Not sure I can say must-have. So if you like that playstyle, I think it's worth it. M60, I would just go for the M48. So let it pass. I think the KPZ 50 ton is a very fun tank. I really like it. Playstyle. It's another tank that sort of glides across the map, so definitely one I think I would recommend picking up. 260. Ever since they changed its playstyle, I don't like it as much. It's slower. It's stronger, maybe, but not strong enough. I preferred it to get wrecked, but give me speed. So I wish they would go back and put more speed on this tank. It's a shame. I thought it was a little bit unique before. I mean, it was unique, I felt. But ever since they, quote-unquote, buffed it, it just doesn't feel as good, in my opinion. But, you know, I don't know. To each their own. Object 777, another must-have tank in my garage, I think. Yeah. It's going to do a little bit of everything on the battlefield. You know, versatility is very important. It's got speed, it's got armor, it's got gun. What can it do? Object 268, well, /4, I should say, version 4. It doesn't have gun depression, and it does have great armor. If you're going against the right tanks or players who don't know how to deal with it, you can absolutely massacre them. I'm not kidding. But players know how to defeat it. You're going to not really enjoy your gameplay that much. Super Conk. I think this is one of the hold-down pieces of the game. It's very strong. I don't enjoy it that much because it's a little bit slow, but if you like hold down, this is definitely one I would want to consider. Badger, just for that DPM, I would say it's a must-have. I mean, this is, well, I'm not sure if it's the highest tier 10 DPM, is it? Let me just quickly check here. 3,540. That's pretty damn high. Let's compare it to a medium tank quickly here. 3,000. See, it's better than that. How about the 907? I think it's 3,400. Only 3,100. Ooh, it's been a while. Yeah. So just for the DPM, just walk on up and absolutely shred tanks. Nobody can really beat you in this tier. The armor does work very, very well, especially in some positions. You are pretty much unbendable, except HE or those super godly shells, maybe a Hori. 121, it's got a lot of things that can make it better, but the thing I like about it is the super speed. Super speed boost for me is one of the underrated boosts in the game because you can get to a position you want and put your enemy on the back foot right from the beginning. So I think this is a must-have in your garage, but only if you like medium playstyle. It makes 30 better than it once was. Used to be great, then it got absolutely stunk and come back to some glory, but I don't think it's must-have. I'd say it's okay. And this tank, yeah, it surprised me. I really wish it had tungsten. Come on, load, hello. Uh-oh, is my game frozen? It looks like it, ladies and gentlemen. Aha, there we have it. This tank, it's as big as a freaking house. And you might think, well, Snugs, why would I want a tank that doesn't have great armor? DPM is only 2,500. It is a heavy tank, so that's pretty solid. And look at that high explosive anti-tank. Yeah, that's great. So the heat can absolutely shred. But the thing about this tank for me is its speed 45 in a heavy tank. That is nice. That's up there with the best of them. The object 777. What's the top speed? Oops. What's its top speed? I never check these things. So I don't get 45. See, equally fast. Stratswagen. How about that? That's also a pretty fast tank. 47. So it's not the fastest, the AMX M454, but this tank can absolutely rip tanks apart. If you play a platoon with this tank, do not underestimate this tank. You'll get a few bounces, gun absolutely whacks. And if it had tungsten, I would say this is a must-have. But I don't know. Without that, I think it's very good. I think it's more enjoyable than most people give it credit. So you're gonna have to be the judge. So there you have it. As I said, I'm missing a few tanks here and there. There's the new BZ tank that just came out. There's BZ74-1 and the BZ74-2 or something like that. I'm missing the WZ1115A. I'm missing the Valkyr tanks like the Predator and the Vindicator and Nameless. Some tier 8 tanks such as what am I missing? I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. I can't think of any. I know I'm missing a few of them, but they're just not popping. Oh, the WZ111 and the Panzer 58. So I don't have them all, but from these tanks, I think you can pick and choose a lot of very strong tanks that I think you'll be happy with. Just remember, you've got to think about your playstyle. What fits you? You might be good with medium tanks, then go for medium tanks. If you like brawling tanks, go for a brawler. If you like heavy tanks and bouncing, frontlining, go for a heavy tank. If you like sniping and staying invisible and being sneaky, get a tank destroyer. These are things that only you can answer. I can't say that for you. I know my playstyle. I can play pretty much any tank, but some tanks I just gravitate towards more than others. I don't know why. It just is the way it is. So I hope you found some tanks that you might want to consider picking up sometime later this year when they're available in the garage or auctions. I'm not sure if there'll be a summer auction. Last year they didn't have one. Well, that surprised me. Maybe they're going to do it this year because they're going to skip 1 year. So winter every year and summer maybe every 2 years. But who knows? Maybe it was just a one-off 2 years ago. We will find out, shall we? Anyway, that's all I got for you. I'll see you next time. Snugsonblitz out.